Today on the Cajun Conservative Show, we talk about Britney Spears' new book, The Woman in Me, and why certain celebrities should not be followed by children. In the second segment, we talk about Israel's conflict with Hamas and how the President of the United States wants to bring Palestinians in and want to give them aid, and how the Palestinians are blaming Israel for a failed rocket attack by Hamas, and why the House of Representatives don't have a speaker. Republicans need to get their head out of you-know-where. Then on the third segment, we talk with Mike Caldarise from the Caldarise Unleashed podcast about a range of topics of presidential candidates to the House Speaker. All that and more on the Cajun Conservative Show next. How you doing, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show. Got a jam-packed show for you, ladies and gentlemen. Got Mr. Mike Caldarise from Caldarise Unleashed. Going to be on the program later on in the third segment. And got a lot of things going on, from Israel being accused of bombing a hospital, which has been totally proven false, by the way, because this was a lie that was generated by Hamas, because it was one of their own rockets that hit their own hospital. Shows the capability of Hamas. To today, at the time of this recording, Jim Jordan failing once again to becoming House Speaker. A lot of stuff going on, ladies and gentlemen, and I know that's the focus of everybody right now. And I promise you, we're probably going to get to that in a little while. But I have a couple other stories I really want to get to, because yes, Israel is big news. The Speaker of the House is also big news, but there's other things going on that I feel we need to address in this show. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of opinions and I like putting out my opinions out there. But before we do that, I would like to go ahead and give a shout out to HairClub. You know, in America, hair loss is a problem for most adults. 60% of men will have to deal with hair loss by the age of 50, and 50% of women will experience hair loss in their lifetime. Now, some people may not worry about their receding hairline. But if you are, I want to tell you about HairClub. HairClub has 40 plus years dedicated to restoring hair and rebuilding confidence. They have over 650 expert consultants and 120 locations across America to help you on your journey to stop your hair loss. If you'd like to see what HairClub can do for you, go to the description of this video or this audio podcast and hit the link to their website and schedule an appointment with one of their consultants. And they can help you to help you to restore your hair loss. Now, when you do that, remember to use the promo code BGS10 Media 10 BGS Media 10 at the checkout, and you get 10% off your price, ladies and gentlemen. Proud to partner up with a company like HairClub. Go ahead and check them out. It'll be worth your while. Now, look, I don't have trouble with hair loss, but I know there's a lot of people out there that do, and they need somebody like HairClub. And big company, ladies and gentlemen, 120 locations in America. You can find them anywhere. I know they have one towards New Orleans. The only recommendation, if you go to HairClub, please wait until Jeff Landry gets into position and gets some of the crime out of the way, because, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of crime. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to address something to you, the audience. And look, I have 3 kids, very small children, and we are very selective of what we allow our children to watch or to hear. I've been told in my life, because I've been homeschooled and my parents were strict on me, and they wanted to make sure that I didn't absorb anything in my mind that would hurt me in the future. Now, as an adult, I see why my parents did certain things. You know, when you're young, you're like, man, why do my parents, do this to me? They must not want me to have fun. And it's not about not having fun. It's about protecting you. And ladies and gentlemen, I let my children watch a movie called McGee and Me. And they had a show on there called The Not So Great Escape, and it was basically about this premise of you allowing stuff into your mind. And the dad in the show of McGee and Me said that, you know, your mind is like a vacuum. What you put in your mind, or what you put in your mind, you're gonna produce out. So if you put garbage in your mind, it's gonna produce garbage. So, and we wonder why America is in the shape it's in, and that is because parents allow their children to be influenced by something. Now, parents would say, well, we want them to be free spirit. We want them to be, express themselves. And you can't do that. If you're a parent, you have children, I can't go ahead and stand behind this microphone and tell you how to raise your children, because I won't let you tell me how to raise mine. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going back to the premise of, there is certain things I don't allow my children to watch. We talked about it the other day. Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol has not played in my house, to my knowledge, since they came out and supported the LGBTQ lifestyle. Now, some people might say you're dogmatic and you don't want your children to express other options. Ladies and gentlemen, in my home, there's only two genders, a male and a female. There ain't 355 other genders out there. There's a male and a female. Now, if my kids grow up and they want to believe that, I will tell them they're wrong, and I will love them, but I will tell them they're wrong. Now, on this point, why am I bringing this up? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Britney Spears' new memoir came out this week, is coming out this week, and is The Woman in Me. And ladies and gentlemen, I seen the cover of this book, and I will tell you I'm not reading it. It's not because I don't want to see what's inside the book. I see it, and look, a lot of people say you can't read a book by cover. Yes, you can. When you have Britney Spears, who is one of the biggest personalities out there, and in the cover of a book, it's her topless with a pair of jeans. That book can tell me everything that is going on. And what I've heard from it now, I don't recommend children or young ladies or young men or anybody to read this book. Why? It's not to stop her book sales. It's to protect you, the child, or to protect you, someone that is reading this. But ladies and gentlemen, this memoir came out, and there's some shocking claims in this book, with one being that Justin Timberlake, who formerly dated Britney Spears in 1999 to 2002, I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible, had some relationships together. I know young children watch this show, and Britney Spears became pregnant. And in the book, Britney Spears admits to having an abortion. Now, you know us here at the Cajun Conservative Show and BGS Media, we think that abortion is wrong. And ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons why they chose to have an abortion, Britney Spears says in her book, is because, first off, Justin Timberlake didn't want it. Now, we have not heard from Justin Timberlake. There's always two sides of a story. But according to Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake did not want to have the baby. He was not ready to be a father. Now, they were young. But Britney Spears went ahead and went along with the idea that she didn't want to have a child either. And ladies and gentlemen, this story, I know it's old, from 2002, but it's coming out in a recent book, so I think we should talk about it. This fuels my theory that abortions are not always what they seem. It's always based on convenience. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I understand you might have some people out there, and there's even some in my own party that says, well, hold on, we will go ahead and, what about rape victims? What about a child with muscular dystrophy? What about, and they'll come up with all this stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, it comes down to convenience. Listen to this story. Why did Justin Timberlake encourage Britney Spears to not to have an abortion? It was because they were rising stars, and if they would have a baby right now, it would ruin their stardom. That was in the mind of Justin Timberlake. Ladies and gentlemen, now, like I said, she evidently went with it. She said she probably would have kept the child, and I applaud her for keeping. I wish she would have, and this whole conversation would have been different. Now she says in the book that she was traumatized by the experience, and this fits into the narrative again that abortion does traumatize women. You know, a lot of people will go ahead and say, well, Isaac, hold on. Sometimes some women might not be able to have children, and they or not have children, but have the child because they're not wealthy, they're not this, and they're gonna be fine. You have all these clinics, but you notice majority of the abortion clinic, Planned Parenthood included, when these women have an abortion, they throw them out on the street and they're traumatized, and it led to other things. But this in my opinion, I'm watching this and I'm seeing this. And I know there's some on the left and even possibly some on the right saying, Isaac, this is dogmatic. You shouldn't be saying this about these two people. But this is why I do not encourage children to follow certain celebrities. Because celebrities, ladies and gentlemen, come down. When it really comes down to is that they had this abortion. And ladies and gentlemen, you know how many men and women, because follow Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears, you got to realize these two people were on the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, a famous Disney program that is still going on today, not in the form that it was back in the day with Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears, but that show is still going on in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And you know how many children from the 90s and the 2000s followed these two individuals? How many people are listening to their music today? And how many people are influenced by their music today? Probably in the millions. And ladies and gentlemen, these two people decided to have an abortion. One was all out on it. Hey, let's have an abortion so I can have my career. And then you had Britney Spears, who was thinking about keeping the child, but evidently decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and abort this child. Ladies and gentlemen, you should not let your children listen to these people. And look, this is besides the point of Britney Spears dressing like a slut every music video, and you have Justin Timberlake, if you remember, pulling the shirt off of Janet Jackson on the Super Bowl stage. Isaac, that was I hear that all the time and it aggravates me. That was a wardrobe malfunction. The man put his hand and went back and grabbed it. His hand closed. There ain't no wardrobe malfunction. Ain't no wardrobe malfunction there, ladies and gentlemen. But you have these people that had an abortion all because of convenience to their career. How many women and how many men are going to follow their example? Well, hold on, Isaac, you're trying to say men can get pregnant? No, but what if a man hears this story and he gets a woman pregnant, and the woman says, look, I want to keep it, and the first things out of his mouth is like, no, I want to further my career, you got to abort the child. Now we know some on the left and some on the right, unfortunately, believe no, a woman has a right. Because that is not a child in the womb. That is just a little fetus, and it don't live, and it don't. You hear all these freaking lies from the left and some on the right, unfortunately. But that is a life. And this is why I don't allow my children to listen to Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake. And ladies and gentlemen, the media soaks this up. I've the Daily Mail, the Fox News, I think even Daily Wire ran a story with it. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how many people are running this story? The media, and look, they don't even talk about, they put the traumatizing part later on in the story. And if you're like me, I read more stories now, but when I didn't do this for, to do a podcast, I would just skim the first part of the story. Most stories did not include, or they put it way at the bottom, that she was traumatized after this. And this made her do some stupid stuff later on. All the media push is she had an abortion. In the new article, in the new book, Woman in Me, which we need to ask, run across. We need to ask Britney Spears what is a woman. Apparently she knows, and some college professors don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, you know how many people are gonna go ahead. The media is pushing. Excuse me, I got distracted. Shoot that rabbit. Anyway, but ladies and gentlemen, the media is look. Britney Spears had an abortion. Britney Spears had an abortion. You women that are thinking about it, y'all should just do it because Britney Spears did it. And that's what the media is hoping people show. But it's funny, ladies and gentlemen. The parents, the celebrities that should be followed and that are doing stuff right are criticized. What do I mean? Well, Blue Jays Eric Swinson defended hunting with his young son. I am teaching him a very important life lesson. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This baseball player, I believe is a pitcher of the Blue Jays, brought his son hunting. Didn't do nothing wrong with a gun. Just went hunting. And the media and people on the left criticized this man. They went ahead and they fussed that he had birds around his son and calling his son and him a murderer. And look, he said, I'm showing my son I'm teaching him life lessons and important lessons. Spending time with the child. He had the child. And they're criticizing him for hunting. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this right here. And I'm going to make a bold statement. The left cares more about a bird getting shot by a hunter than a baby in a womb. Think about it. Okay, look, this whole story I just brought about Britney Spears and the pitcher from the Blue Jays. They praise Britney Spears for having an abortion, killing a life in the womb. But they will not, but they're going to criticize a man that takes his son and kills a bird to eat for his son to survive. Oh, that's hateful, man. You saw that man? He shot them birds. Saw that man? He shot Bambi's daddy. Oh! But a woman has an abortion. Oh, you did the right thing. You can go on with your life. You can live. You can do your career. The man encouraged it all. It's even better. How bad? This is why I don't talk about this subject too much. It makes me too mad. Ladies and gentlemen, you had a power couple in society abort a child, and it's known, God, almost 30 years later, 20 years later. And the left, oh, Britney had an abortion because they didn't want to mess up their career. Nah, I drove her crazy, but hey, the point is she had an abortion. But a man spending time with his father, spending time with his son, showing him the hunt, that's a crime at the age. That can't happen. That shouldn't happen. That's wrong. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in my observation of these two stories, I would encourage kids not to follow Britney Spears or Justin Timberlake, as I said earlier. I would encourage them to follow the man that decided to have a son. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring this point out because I really feel this needs to get hit home. Because the media side, the media, like I said, the media will defend Britney Spears for having an abortion. But they're going to cut down a man that spent time with his son, or a man kneeling on a football field, or a person going on the stage and said, look, I give credit to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. More people need to follow celebrities like Grace Lyons Turk and her husband, Michael Turk. They need to follow more celebrities like Tim Tebow and this baseball player that decided to show his son how to hunt. They need to look at more people like Kirk Cameron and Kevin Sorbo, our friend here at the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, We need to encourage our young people to follow those examples. Not a slut that has a topless that's topless on her book cover, or a man that said, "Hey, I don't want to mess up my career because I'm not ready to be a daddy. So you're gonna have to go ahead and have that child aborted." We need to really encourage our children to follow God-leaning people, not devils. I hate to say it like that. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back in a few moments, so please stay tuned. How you doing, everyone? Isaac Hayes here, the Cajun Conservative. I've been part of the trucking industry for a few years now, and I know the importance of finding a company that won't just sell you a truck or a piece of equipment, but will take the time to know you and help you through the process and checking in on you after the sale. That's why we are proud to announce our partnership with Smith Truck and Equipment Sales. Smith Truck and Equipment Sales is a family-owned and operated pre-owned truck and trailer dealership in Lafayette, Louisiana, who have been serving Acadiana for over 40 years. They offer full-service parts and accessories and financing. They also buy used trucks of all makes. You can visit Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 5 at their location at 3010 Northeast Evangel Thruway, or visit their website, SmithTruckSales.com. You can also give them a call at 337-234-0557 and let their friendly and experienced staff take care of all your trucks and trailer needs. Smith Truck and Equipment Sales. Tell them the Cajun Conservative sent you.
Made us whole. Not one hub, not one soul.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Cajun Conservative Show. So let's start off with Israel on this second segment. So there was Israel is in the midst of doing a ground invasion. They're about to go in. Now, President Biden has just come back from there, and don't know why he went. It's funny, okay? He's been avoiding Israel like the plague for the last 3 years. If I'm not even my memory, I might be wrong, but I think my memory serves me correct. This was the same man that when the former prime minister of Israel came over, he didn't even meet with him, if I'm not mistaken. But been avoiding Israel like the plague. Now Israel goes and says, look, we've been attacked by Hamas. This is the deadliest invasion of Israel since the Holocaust. We're going to go and take them out. All of a sudden, you have the president of the United States flying over there. And then also wants to send $100 million to Gaza for the people that are in there. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up with this president giving money to Israel's enemies? Now he's following President Obama. President Obama, for some, well, I know the reason, but Obama would send money to Iran in crates. And ladies, I'm so tired of hearing people like they're not touching the $6 billion. They know it's there. They can use it in other resorts. And they also say, hey, this is for humanitarian purposes. Take that money, and you don't know what they've done with it. But you have John Kirby. It is closely observed. We're not letting them go nowhere. Baloney. Hamas is laughing at us. The Islamic world is laughing at us. And president, look, they don't respect us so much. They didn't even meet with our president. Look, they should have, because he probably would have. Yay! I didn't do nothing wrong. But anyway, going back. But the president went over there and stopped the invasion for a couple of days and really put Israel in a pickle, because you have the president of the United States there. You got to stop all your. Benjamin Netanyahu had way more better stuff to do than sit with President Biden. I promise you. But anyway, President Biden went there and didn't do much. But going back to one of the reasons why he went was because this week, unfortunately, a hospital in the Gaza Strip was hit by a rocket, and Hamas, right off the jump, blamed Israel for it. The New York Times, this is according to Dan Bongino, what I heard. According to the New York Times, reported real quick, that it was Israel. Israel shot a rocket. 24 hours later, after the report that happened on Wednesday. Oh, it happened on Tuesday, Wednesday morning. Israel produced evidence that this was not even their rocket. It came from the Gaza Strip. There is video, because Israel has drones there, that shows the rocket shooting up and breaking up, and unfortunately, it hit the hospital. But you have some of the squad members, Talib and Ilhan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, saying, oh, Israel should build a ceasefire. Oh, people in the Gaza Strip are hurting. Oh, these Palestinians. Oh. But these are the same Palestinians. Now, look, all Palestinians ain't bad. But these are the same Palestinians that were cheering on Hamas as they killed innocent lives in Israel. Also, it's funny how nobody cared. Now, everybody condemned the terrorist act in Israel, but it's funny how nobody cared about the civilians in Israel. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be honest with you. The support for Hamas is thick in America, apparently, because you have some individuals, and I'm happy to report there is a law firm that has that has rejected and rescinded all their offers to lawyers in these big fancy universities that was supposed to go work for them when they graduate. They rescinded the order and said, no, you're going to support a terrorist group? Go shove off over there. Go somewhere else. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what bothers me? This should be uniting the nation. A terrorist organization attacked one of our allies and killed innocent people. 40 babies that were unfortunately decapitated. I hope I said that right. Beheaded, whatever. And women sexually assaulted. Heard of a family that moved near the Gaza Strip to show their peace. They say, look, us Israel, us Jews don't want to fight with y'all. We want to be neighbors. Hamas went and murdered this family cold-bloodedly. We should be united to say, look, let's get these dogs and let's cut them down. I said this before, and look, President Biden has said he supports Israel and all that, but funny, his actions speaking loud as well. We support Israel, but we want to send $100 million to Gaza. Like he can't do anything right now. The house is that's my blood pressure. But anyway, going back to that, you have Israel, right? And this should unite us. This is, hey, look, we're standing with our ally. But you have people running around the streets, and some even in our own Congress. Oh, Israel blew up this hospital with all the evidence, with evidence that shows that they did not do it. Oh, the poor Gaza Strip people, the poor Palestinians, they were the thugs that went killed innocent Jewish lives. But you have these congresswomen. Oh, they need a ceasefire. Oh, this is barbaric. Oh, this is Israel wants to go take out the thugs. And then you have some, because I'm going to bring back to you January 6th. Remember, anybody that runs the Capitol and puts a protest on January 6th is a domestic terrorist. Remember that. That's what the media fed. You know what happened today? And look, credit to where credit's due. Mr. Scott Ford from the Scott Ford Show sent me this. I wouldn't know this happened if he wasn't the Senate. And then he got it from Benny Hinson, I think it is. U.S. Capitol Police arrest protesters as House of Representatives Kennett building Wednesday afternoon. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators. Oh, demonstrators. Okay, we got to remember that word. The demonstrators showed up demanding an end to the violence in the Gaza Strip since Hamas, a Palestinian terrorist organization, attacked Israel. And if you look at the pictures and you see the video, all these people are standing around the Capitol and they're sitting down and they're with their boudet face and they're chanting anti-Semitic statements. Ladies and gentlemen, look, there was some arrested, but where was the media? Where was the breaking news? Where was our phones blowing up that there was an insurrection happening at the Capitol? Look, I had to correct Scott on this because Scott asked me that. Is this going to be labeled? And we have fun. I know Scott don't mind me saying it. Scott's an advocate, is a listener to the show. Go listen to his show, Scott Ford on Rumble. Scott sent me that in a joking tone. I put back, no, this is a mostly peaceful protest. But I forgot because look, this is a conservative news organization that put this out, but it wasn't a protest. It was a demonstration to end the violence in the Gaza Strip because of Hamas. And see, that's what I'm trying. Look, it's funny if people all the Palestinians all over the world, because there's protesters in London. So our embassy in a country was attacked. A Jewish embassy was attacked by Palestinians. Who are the people causing violence? Not the Americans and not the Jewish people, the Palestinians. But you have Palestinians all over the world, in London, in New York, in California, at law schools. You even have a freaking law professor saying that he felt emotional when he saw the violence in Israel because this is all because Israel treat the Palestinians bad. Granted, Israel has never shot a rocket unless they were shot first. But you have all these people running around. Oh, poor Palestinians. Oh, poor. And look. The people that are not part of Hamas, I do feel for you. But you have people that are all over this world endorsing a terrorist group, and it makes me sick. It makes me sick, ladies. I can't believe I have to come out of this microphone. This should be uniting the country saying we're going to back Israel. No, but you have stupid fools on the left. You have stupid fools that believe that a terrorist group has more rights than a law-abiding country. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. And you know what even makes me more sick, ladies and gentlemen? I got an article earlier this week that there's some lawmakers that whenever they get a House Speaker back, they want to pass a bill that will deny refugees into our country because Joe Biden is thinking about asking these people to come in like we don't have enough problems with people crossing over our border. And look, if it's true, if Biden is really contemplating on bringing Palestinian refugees to our country, that dude is more foolish than I ever thought he was. These people were dancing in the streets when Hamas attacked Israel, and you want to bring them onto our soil. You know who they hate as much as Jewish people? The American people. They call us the serpent of the West. Oh, come to our country. Come. We will hug you and love you. And when they hug you, they're going to stab you in the back. I think a box of rocks is smarter than Joe Biden right now. For this, I can't. Look, I'm serious. I cannot believe. I never thought in my years of doing podcasting and following politics, I would never become behind a microphone and say that our president is openly inviting enemies into our country. And ladies and gentlemen, it's sick. And look, on a different note, this is why we need a House Speaker. Jim Jordan, poor Jim Jordan, probably one of the most conservative members of Congress, is losing votes every day they put up a vote because you have stupid, thickhead Republicans. Oh, you got Mr. McConnell. Look, I don't agree with what Gates did. But you shutting down the government. Look, remember, I said this last episode. Nobody wanted to shut down the government. Matt Gaetz out Kevin McCarthy. The government shut down. Half of it, at least. We have this crisis. We have the government shutdown coming down. And we have Republicans sitting on their hands because they don't pick the person I like. Dang it, man. I read a compromise with another Republican, then compromise with the Democrats. The Democrats are all united behind Hakeem Jeffries. There is even some word that the Republicans, some House Republicans, are thinking about joining and putting Hakeem Jeffries, then why the hell did we fight in 2022? My goodness. If that was the case, I wish Republicans would have lost the midterm elections. Oh, Isaac, you don't mean that. Yeah, I mean that. You got stupid Republicans at the Capitol that rather show their authority instead of working with the Republican Party. And I'm talking about the far right and the modern Republicans. They treated Steve Scalise wrong. Well, who cares? Steve Scalise voted for Jim Jordan. They didn't keep Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy voted for Jim Jordan. My goodness. We have Israel that needs funds, a legitimate ally that needs funds and needs help. And the Republican Party, some are just too doggone prideful to say, look, I'm gonna throw my hands up. We're gonna get a speaker in here. What they do? No, I'm not giving that. No, I'm not going with Jim Jordan. It don't matter who they look. That's the thing too. It don't matter who they put up in there. You're gonna have a group of Republicans that's gonna say no. We don't like him. I'm gonna use an example. The Lord Jesus Christ could say, "I'm running for speaker," and you have some in the Republican Party say he's not moderate enough. It don't matter who they throw up there. Look, you remember when they were talking about Donald Trump being House Speaker? Oh, Lord, don't let that happen. What a mess. This country is in a mess. We have a president that wants to bring in Palestinian refugees from the Gaza Strip, where Hamas can infiltrate them and get them over here. Then you have the Republican Party that can't agree on Jack Snot, and what a mess. And you wonder why I come here and I get angry. Oh. And look, I said this, man, at the beginning of the segment, at the beginning of the show, I said, listen, I wanted to talk about that, and I was calm about that. But this aggravates me. You have people demonstrating in the Capitol and sitting down, and you have Capitol Police looking around. What are we gonna do? I don't know. We can't arrest them. I don't know. You know. But you have people still going to jail for January 6th. You didn't hear that on the news. Why? Because they don't want to offend the Palestinians. Ladies and gentlemen, I said it earlier. All over the world, you have people that are showing that they're violent, that they're evil, and they want to. It's all Israel's fault. Like the hospital, I said earlier, there's tons of evidence that shows that they didn't blow up that hospital. But stupid dumbheads, Democrats, and I'm talking about the squad. Oh, Israel needs to stop. Israel needs to stop. But when they asked one of them, hey, do you agree with babies' heads being chopped off? She looked at him and walked off. Oh, goodness. What a mess. And look, I don't know what the Republican Party's doing. You know, the Republican Party, some in the Republican Party, you need to get your head out y'all know where and say, listen, we're going to work and get a House Speaker. Let's put Jim Jordan, because I've thought about this at length. They go ahead, the investigations for the impeachment have stalled. You have the Hunter Biden investigation installed. There's statutes of limitation that's about to run out. Look, my brother said it the other day, Anthony Hayes, and he was on this program a few weeks ago. I'm starting to agree. I wanted the Republican Party's trying to help freaking Hunter Biden. I wanted them trying to help Joe Biden, some of them. Oh, because look, either that. Look, I'm just gonna say this, and this will be my last point because I've been rambling, and we got Mike Caldarise from Caldarise Unleashed coming on here. Great guy. We're gonna talk with him in a little while about some politics. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm lost for words. You know, what a mess. Let me just say, I'm gonna end like that because I'm at a loss for words. I can't. You have a Republican Party that can do so much for the American people, and they let pride get in the way. What a mess. All right, as I said, please stay tuned. We're gonna be with Mr. Mike Caldarise. He's from Caldarise Unleashed podcast, and we're gonna be talking to him about some politics. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in a few moments.
Cheers and good on you, boys and girls. My name is Scott Ford, and I have a show on Rumble. It's the Scott Ford Show, all one word. The Scott Ford Show, all one word, and it's on Rumble. I'd be very happy if you went ahead and subscribed. Like Isaac, I'm a true American-loving patriot. Thank you, Isaac. God bless. Enjoy your life.
You made me understand. Hold on to the light.
Yes, hold on to the light, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, dark world ahead, but guess what? Jesus is the light at the end of the tunnel. With that being said, we have a guest on this segment of the Cajun Conservative Show today. He is the host of the Caldarise. I'm trying to remember the podcast name. Is Unleash?
It's Caldarise Unleashed. Yeah.
Caldarise Unleashed, Mr. Mike Caldarise. He's a good friend of Michael Source, who was on the show a few weeks ago. Mike, what's happening, man? Finally got to meet you in virtual person.
I know. I've been listening to you. It's been really nice, man. I love what you do. It's really good, and I appreciate you having me on, man. Yeah, Mikey Schwartz, he's awesome. I was just on with him. We did like a 3-hour-long marathon.
Wow.
I was debating one of his liberal friends. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I love doing this stuff, man. It's great.
Hey, man, and hey, so you're a conservative, it's obvious. Man, don't liberals just like, they're like attracted to you like a magnet?
No, they actually stay away from me like kryptonite.
Okay.
For being honest, yeah, because I have a very weird recall mechanism in my head. If I hear something, I'm able to like regurgitate it at weird times, but it's only there for split seconds. So I tend to cut people off so I can get it out, but I have a very good memory, and the problem is I'm very accurate with things. You see what I do is I read both sides, and I try to get to know both sides, and I try to get to know everybody's different arguments. And if you really understand them, everyone's really very predictable. So that's what I found. Like when we were debating the guy, it's Mike's next, I think it was his 7th episode. You really get a sense of the liberal mindset, because it's a lot of they believe what they're told. It's a very interesting thing. Like they make comments about what Trump says based on what other people told him he said, instead of actually listening to what he said and going off of that and like making their own conclusions. It's very interesting dealing with people that really think they know what they're talking about and don't. It's very interesting, but I love it.
And the ironic thing about it is I make TikToks about this all the time, and you always hear the liberals tell me, "Oh, you need to stop listening to Fox News." And I'm like, I don't even hardly listen to Fox News. But I remember I went off on one guy and I was like, "Look, dude, you're telling me not to listen to Fox News. Where did you pick that up? CNN, which is the cleansed news network, in my opinion." So
it's the go-to. It's the when you have nothing left to say, what you do is you go to the things that you think you're making a point on that you're really not making a point on. So it's like they constantly have to bring up Fox News, or they'll bring up Alex Jones, or they'll accuse you of being a Proud Boy, or it always devolves into some type of name calling and the whole 9 yards. And listen, I'm not just a conservative. So like when I say I'm a conservative, people mistake that. It's like I want to conserve the Constitution. I'm not a Republican. I don't like Republicans. I bash them on my show just as much as I bash the Democrats. I really think our government is so horrific, and I think we have actors, right? They have people that are in control. They have actors that are paid to tell the leftists what they want to hear, and then they have the right that are paid to tell them what they want to hear. And really, the majority of people are just doing what they're told on both sides. It's a select few that think. I think the people that think tend to be more on the Republican side, the conservative side, because we don't just accept what's fed to us.
And look, I'm the same way, and I get told that all the time. You're using the Republicans' talking points, and I'm like, well, my last episode, I talked about how the Republicans are wrong by holding out a speaker for this long. We're about to get in now. At the time this episode's released, there might be another speaker, but we're not sure. We don't. Jim Jordan's having a hard time, so we have to. The Republicans are they're both of the same. They're two different sides of the same coin, basically.
Exactly, and they're lucky that the Democrats bailed them out with putting Palestinian flags outside of their offices so they could distract from the horrible mistakes that they made. And it wouldn't be like I like some of these guys. I like what they're saying, right? I like what Gates did. If Gates wasn't so hypocritical in his approach, I'd be way better. Like I'd be way more accepting of what they did. But I'm not seeing a magic speaker that's going to come in and be able to unite both of these parties and get everything done and get spending cuts done. Is this magic unicorn? Like, is he going to come sometime? Who is he? I really like Jim Jordan, but is he really the guy that's going to be able to get the Senate to do something? When, if you ask me, I think McCarthy wasn't. He didn't give. He was establishment, and he kind of did what the leftists want, and he made a deal. But if you listen to the man talk, he was on message. He was doing a really good job as speaker about putting forth the Republican positions, and they got rid of him. And I don't understand it. It's nothing but chaos. It's showing them that we have nothing but chaos in the Republican Party. It's very interesting to watch them work.
And I agree with you. Worst. And I agree with you because look, I've called it out. Matt Gaetz is hypocritical because, Matt Gaetz goes ahead and says, look, Kevin McCarthy went across the aisle, but to get him out of that position, he had to go team up with the Democrats. Him and 7 other Republicans, they did exactly what they claim Kevin McCarthy did. And that right there bothers me. And look, if Matt Gaetz is all for, hey, let's impeach Biden, let's do these impeachment inquiries, let's look into it, that all stops. And God knows what Biden's doing. Biden's spending money left and right that he had that was being stopped by Congress. Now it's not. So was it better to oust out Kevin McCarthy? I don't believe so.
I really don't think so. It's like, once again, like everyone thought when Trump was in office, there was going to be nothing but chaos, right? Well, we just saw nothing but chaos for the last 2 months between a couple Republican debates. You saw nothing but chaos in the House. You saw nothing but chaos when they were trying to elect McCarthy in the first place. It went on, 16 different times?
Yep.
And these people they make themselves look so inept over and over and over. And it just makes me wonder why we accept this. It's like Chris Smith. I always bring him up when I speak about any of this stuff. The man in my district, it's who represented my area for forever. Since I'm 44, he's been... as long as I've been alive, he's represented Monmouth County in my area, right? He's there for 21 terms. He just gets elected to a 22nd term. Is he the only person that could ever run and ever do any of this stuff? My problem with these guys is they don't mean what they say a lot of the times. Like, you take Gates again. I don't want to drag me on. Cut me off when you want, right? This is your show. I don't want to take over. But you take Gates, for example. Gates, he rubber stamped all of Trump's spending. And if you're really a conservative and you're really a fiscal conservative, you should have a problem with how much Trump spent. Now, I'm a big Trump guy. I was on the Trump train very early, but I could say areas where I don't like what he did. But if you're going to sit there like Matt Gaetz and not complain, sign everything that Trump wants and spend all that money, now all of a sudden you're a spending hawk, it's not believable. You're fundraising off of it. You're not believable. These people, to me, expose themselves, but it's amazing on how many people on both sides just follow them left and right. I can tell you a very interesting story about a Trump, the Trump rallies, and I can tell you about January 6th, and like I was there all day, and it's just when I look at these guys, it's when we use the word sheep, there's sheep on both sides.
Yep.
I try to make everybody understand that.
And see that's the difference with you and I. We look at the evidence, because look, people on the conservative side say, why you read Political, why you read CNN, because you have to know what the other side says. How you get what I'm saying? And look, I don't know about you, but like Political is yes, it is a left leaning paper, but that's a great paper. They do a good job of reporting.
So I read everybody, right? I'm sure you do, because when I listen to your shows, you sound very well. You sound very knowledgeable. You seem like you take in a lot of different information. It's not just one sided. Like you take this Palestine-Israel conflict. I went back and I listened to Al Jazeera. Right. I listened to CNN. I listened to Fox News. I read a whole bunch of stuff on the Daily Wire. There were a lot of stuff about what that Ben Shapiro was saying. I went back and I listened to what some of the Palestinians were saying and some of the craziness from coming out of, Hamas. I try to understand every single side of it. That way I'm not a homer. That way I'm not just, some fan here like I'm cheering on a football game. Right. I'm trying to say, what's this really about? I'm trying to understand what it's really about. And the sad part is there's far too many people do not take the time to actually do that. They just they want to listen to something, believe what they're told. They don't want to listen to all sides and formulate something, on their own. And like you do, clearly like you do.
And that's one reason I have issues with. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm slowly moving back towards Trump, and him and DeSantis are very close, in my opinion, of the right person for the job. But it is the same thing with some Trump supporters. And look, like you said, it's just not Trump supporters. It is Ron DeSantis supporters. It is Nikki Haley supporters. Everything they say is they're hinging to that. Oh, that is gospel because Trump said it. DeSantis said it. And look, I don't want nobody to hinge on anything I say, because I could be wrong. You could be wrong. We admit that. But that's the difference between a lot on the right and very few on the left will ever admit they're wrong. Because look, Russian collusion still hold as fact on the left-hand side, and it's been proven by one of their own agents it was wrong.
It's take like East Palestine, Ohio, right?
Right.
Train derailment goes off. They have a horrible response to it. Pete Buttigieg isn't there for 10 days. And then what happens? They come out and they go, oh, no, but Trump's deregulation back in 2016 is the real reason why these brakes failed. And it's really the reason why we couldn't even get there on time. And we told everybody that no, the water wasn't seeping and it was getting in all the rivers. And it's like he's the reason why they lied to everybody. Yep. Trump's the reason why everything. And it's like, they always want to blame someone else. And you're right, not take any responsibility for any of their actions.
My famous saying is, when all else fails on the Democrat side, blame Trump, because they did it a couple of weeks ago.
No matter what, they'll figure out a way to blame Trump. No matter what, it's still like they're blaming Trump for the border. It's like, really? How does that even work out? Like, you're blaming Trump for gas prices. You blame Trump for East Palestine. You blame Trump for the last tornado that came ripping through Oklahoma. Right. The two hurricanes ago. It's all because Trump stopped climate taxes. It's all a joke, man. But the problem is, how many people believe this?
Right.
That's the problem. How many people believe this? How many people can we reach? That's why I do these type of shows. Can we I try to get through everybody's head that, you're being lied to on such a massive scale on both sides of the aisle. You're like DeSantis, right?
Yeah, I'm a DeSantis guy.
DeSantis. So I love DeSantis. I think he's the best governor, in America.
But hold on. I got to disagree with you now, man. Jeff Landry will be the top come in January, because he just blew out the Republican Party and the Democrat Party here in Louisiana. So DeSantis and Jeff Landry now is going to be a little close race.
All right, so that's your boy from where you're at. Listen, I'm with that. I haven't heard his name yet, but I'm looking forward to hearing him, do really good things for you guys. But no, okay, so take him out of it. DeSantis is number 2 in the country. But I think he got lied to. I think he got very bad advice that he could win this election. And I don't think he could come close, because I believe every one of DeSantis's voters are Trump voters.
Right. I agree.
And in order to be able to beat Trump, you have got to be able to attack Trump in some type of way. And in doing that, you're inevitably going to turn off some of his voters from liking you because you attacked them. Right. So you're threatening. it's such a fine needle that he needed to thread. And I think, like, you look at his last couple of debates, he answered a question. He tried to smile. Didn't he look like constipated to you?
He did.
He kind of like, he answered and he went, and he did that kind of fake weird smile. I think he realizes now that he's hurting himself. I really wanted him to hold off to 2028. I think if he would have just ran Florida and ran in 2028 and set himself up for that, man, I think he could have walked to it. You know,
Well,
but I think he's hurting himself right now, and I don't like seeing it.
I'm gonna say this: if he wouldn't have ran, probably Donald Trump would have picked him to be vice president. It's still a good shot, but it's a long shot. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I see Vic probably being the more of a VP candidate for Donald Trump now. But after that last debate, because you had Vic on the first debate hammering everybody, and everybody praised him. Comes to the next debate, he wants to work with everybody. So hypocrisy at its finest.
You know, Vivek, I like what Vivek says, and I liked him enough to watch him on a lot of different shows. My problem with him is he to me, he seems like he studied Obama and how Obama delivers messages, and even his mannerisms and his sayings. I just think I've always got an impression that he was put there to kind of steal thunder from someone like DeSantis and some of these other guys. I really do, because he does a great job. I mean, Vivek, he's very convincing. Now, and he's a successful guy, but the more I'm learning about him, you know, he's losing his luster with me personally a little bit.
Right.
But you know, it's like I said, he's very good at saying what we want to hear. Very, very, very good at it. I say the same thing about Gavin Newsom on the other side. Right. So Gavin Newsom's going to be he's a stud. And if anybody can't admit that, I mean, the guy's an absolute stud. He's tall, he's handsome, which right there, he's going to get a gigantic portion of the vote, and he could talk and he's articulate. Now, what he did in California and his record, two totally different things, but a lot of times that doesn't matter in a presidential. It's it's a popularity contest.
Now, this is where it's going to hurt Gavin Newsom, because assumedly he ain't running in 2024, and unless something would happen to President Biden, I don't see him running anyway. But you got to remember, in November, there is a debate between Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis, hosted by Sean Hannity. To be honest with you, Mike, I am more excited about watching that debate than any Republican presidential debate.
Really? Now, I'm with you. That's going to be very intriguing to watch. I question why Ron did it. Like, why do you think Ron did that?
I think he's trying to show his achievements in Florida, because you got to remember, Gavin Newsom he sent tons of bad comments towards Ron DeSantis. Remember like the COVID incident. Well, Florida did this and Florida, but California did this, and look how good we are in California. But if you look at the numbers, Florida did way better than COVID-19 than California. So I think that's where it's going to come to the point. I think Ron DeSantis said, look, instead of us throwing jabs at each other from across the country, let's meet on one stage and let's compare our notes.
And it's going to be very interesting to see who comes off on that, because it's suspect. I've never seen Gavin Newsom really debate. I've seen some of the governor debates when they were doing it, but it wasn't like, you can't really get a good feel for how he's going to go up when he's being attacked and when he's really, going back and forth with DeSantis. It's just when DeSantis is running for president, I see him lowering himself by debating someone that's not running for president, even though how much I want to see it. I don't get why. Once again, this is one of these very interesting things, like how he launched his campaign and how he didn't go on any podcasts or any shows. He didn't get his name out there. He's been doing a lot of very interesting things. I'm honestly, to say bluntly, I'm kind of disappointed in the track he's taken. I think he's really hurting himself. Now, does he have a chance? If he really destroys Gavin Newsom in that debate, I think there's a lot to gain there. I think he's gambling, though. He has a lot to potentially lose, but he does have a lot to gain. Like, if he could dismantle,
this is what's hurting, just not DeSantis, but all the candidates in this race right now. And I said, I think I titled it that. I said they want Trump policies, but without Trump. And that's the thing. So, and Chris Christie, one of the biggest critics of Donald Trump. Oh, Donald Trump's this, Donald Trump's that. But when they asked him about the border wall, he was for a border wall. when they asked him about certain policies, he wanted to put certain policies. And that's where my realization came to was, well, hold on. You're running against Donald Trump because you thought he was a bad president, but why you want to implement all his policies?
Every single one of them.
And that's
name one that they would change. They wouldn't change any of them.
And that's the issue I think all these candidates are having. Like you said, Ron DeSantis, he really wants to go after Donald Trump. But if he goes after Donald Trump on a policy and wants to implement that policy, well, why we want you president then?
Exactly. What are you doing? How are you any different? Really, you're not. Really, you're just Trump light.
Right.
And that's the problem. And the people still want Trump. I think a majority of people think that he did a great job, especially now. When you see what's going now 3 years later,
yep.
Trump doesn't look so bad anymore. You haven't heard a mean tweet in how long?
Yeah, long time.
In a long time. So the things that people don't like about him, one of the interesting things I love doing, if you ever have someone on your show and, take this down there, tell me, I'd love to hear what you think about it. Just ask people what they don't like about Donald Trump and then ask them what policies they didn't like. When you really break down the policies, they loved his foreign policy. It was probably the best out of any president in my 40 years of life, right? And then they loved his domestic policy with low gas prices and the economy booming and everybody having jobs. And when you look at what he did, it's really good. So he's been gone for a while. The thing that everyone hated about him was that he called this guy a bad word on Twitter. It's gone. It's gone. And now what's happening, like you said, how do you take his place when all you do is come in and implement his policies? And the reality is you're probably not going to do as good of a job negotiating his policies that he did because they're his. They're all America first.
They're all America first.
The exact same thing.
And this would probably be the best scenario. I don't agree with Donald Trump calling for it, but you can't lie either. It'd probably be the best policy. Hey, all these guys backing down and say, look, let's go ahead and go after Donald. Let's go join up with Trump. Let Chris Christie run against him. Chris Christie is is damaged goods right now. But
what, Christie.
But I promise you, like Ron DeSantis, okay? Ron DeSantis says he drops out. Donald Trump, I believe he's going to win big in 2024. But imagine if he got DeSantis on his side. I think it'll be a blowout because most conservatives and most Republicans like both those men. And you can't lie. Donald Trump gave a good word to Ron DeSantis the first time. Second time he won in a landslide. But it was that first time, it was neck and neck, and Donald Trump brought him over the threshold.
I mean, he really did. He gave him the yank. He gave him the boost that he needed. And Donald Trump he's going to be scorned forever. It's one of the bad things about him is his scorned wife almost mentality. Sometimes when you one thing that he thinks that you cross him on, he's never gonna change. Listen, I think DeSantis is ultimately going to come over and throw full support behind Donald Trump.
I believe so too.
He's going to have to, right? If he ever wants a shot at Trump voters, which are immense. You have to placate to Trump because he shows how much he has a lot of power and he has a movement. Like, have you ever in your life, how old are you?
I'm 30. 31. I had to think for a second.
So in your 31 years, or say you're 15 years and you may have been paying attention to this stuff, you haven't really seen this. You've seen Obama, but you've never seen roadside stores with Obama's name on it like you did with Trump. There was just pop-up hot dog stands full of Trump stuff everywhere. So he's at the back of a movement here. These guys have to placate to him, and they're going to. He's going to blow them all out. The more people stay in, the better it is for him, right?
And it don't look good if they do come against Donald Trump because that's what the left does. Look, Biden's famous word is the MAGA Republicans. And I'm like, really? Don't he know what MAGA means is make America great again? What is wrong with that? Hey, I'm glad to be a MAGA Republican or a MAGA America then because, hey, I want America to be great. I want America to thrive. I want America first, not this baloney administration we got here that wants to put a second. But that, people that are on the right, like Chris Christie, he opens his mouth. I'm against Trump. First words out of all the Republicans, Mike. He's a rhino. He hugged Barack Obama. He talked good about Joe Biden. He did. So there's a lose-lose situation any way you choose.
Yeah, and I mean, think about what you said. The MAGA Republicans, why they label us that. I could tell you, if you ever want to have this conversation, because I don't know how much time you have or whatever, but just being there all day January 6th, I knew how much they were lying to us just then, right? And the interesting part is how they wanted to frame it and how we're all insurrectionists. So if you were just there that day, I tell everybody this. When I say to people, I was there January 6th, if they're Republican or Democrat, they typically give me the same look. They go, their eyes open up and like, you were there, you were part of the insurrection. And they have framed it to where MAGA means something bad. MAGA means racist. MAGA means insurrectionist. MAGA means everything negative to people that aren't smart enough to see that MAGA means people that want the country great. It's very interesting. MAGA, you'll never hear MAGA associated with any type of policies because that's not how they want to push it.
Yep.
They want to push everything negative. That's why they use it. Oh, these MAGA Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy and our democracy and blah, blah, blah. It's like, we're trying to conserve this republic. We're not trying. It's a very interesting dynamic that's at play. But you say a lie long enough and it's going to go. You look at Mike Schwartz, what he's dealing with. It's so many people were lied to about COVID for so long that they'll never break out of that lie. Once you say a lie and you say it long enough, and you'll never convince that person they've been lied to. And all he's doing is presenting his data on what he did, right? And you have to see the attacks that this man gets.
Yeah,
it's like, guys, he's being fact checked. It's unbelievable on YouTube and stuff.
The only reason they're coming against him is because of one word, Fauci. You get what I'm saying? And because look, I've talked to a lot of people, and when I talk about Michael's book to them, they're like, "Oh, we want to read it because we want to see that data." But Mike, you know how many people I'm seeing right now wear masks in my state? I was laughing. I was laughing my rear end off the other day because I was in my dump truck, turned down the road, and I look in a car. This woman is by herself with a mask, and I'm like, you got COVID? That you protecting yourself?
It's they have been brainwashed to believe that mask is going to trick them, or it's going to save them from these microparticles. And right? When in reality, all they're doing is not expelling a lot of bacteria, and they're creating a petri dish on their face and putting it back in. But it goes to the overall point. Right? They were told from these people that wear a mask, it's going to help you. Wear a mask, it's going to help you. They never looked at any of the fact check or any of the studies. They never even thought for themselves just for a second. They just believed what they were told. And there's so many people that do that. It's unbelievable. And there you go. There's your voter base. How are you ever going to convince somebody to do their own thought process if they're not even thinking about putting something on their face and covering their face up? To people, I think it's I really think it's their type of. You ever when you were a kid and you heard the boogeyman and you're laying in bed and you thought the boogeyman was around, what's the first thing you did? You threw the blanket over your head. Now that blanket is going to protect you from everything, right? It's Iron Man's shield. It's everything. Captain America's shield. That blanket meant everything to you. This mask is representative of everything good in their world. And it's very. I try to figure out how these people think of the way they do, and I really can't figure it out. It's very interesting, man. But the lie goes further than the truth.
Yeah, and you said something. You say a lie long enough. You know who said that, huh? Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler said, if you say a lie long enough, loud enough, and often enough, guess what? People believe it. Guess what? And he was the founder of socialism. Well, Mike, with that being said, we're running a little short on time, but we're gonna have to do this again, man. I love this conversation.
Come on whenever you want. Definitely, this is awesome. You gotta come on our show as well. You gotta meet Jay.
Oh yeah.
The show started off as just Caldarise Unleashed, where I didn't even know what I was doing, man. I had a phone, and I was really just yelling into my phone, and then we eventually, got a whole good setup. But my neighbor started doing this with me. And so I got my buddy Jason Morgan. We come in, and if you heard him, it's both of us. So we have a really good time. So you definitely got to come on our show, rap with both of us about whatever topic you want. We take on any topic on our show. And we're not afraid of it.
Man, dude, I tell you, the question I've been getting asked the most now. I'm so glad that we have a Republican governor elect now. Everybody from outside the state of Louisiana was at, how are y'all the only southern state that has a Democrat? And I'm like, well, we're not the only one. Kentucky still got one right now, but hopefully that changes in November. But I'm just like, the state of Louisiana, yeah, we had a low voter turnout, but I heard a good point on that. and we could dive dive with that anytime. We had a low voter turnout, but it was all informed voters. Because look, this is the first time in, I think, 12 years we had a governor that won on the first ballot without going into a runoff.
Wow.
And Jeff Landry picked up this state with 52% of the votes.
Okay.
The closest Republican running against him had 6%. The Democrat only had 25%. And look, we had people that were informed, and they had.
Is that a bellwether, you think? Is that indicative of what's to come?
I think that is what to come, because last year we had a supermajority Senate, and then we had a majority House for the first time in our history in the state of Louisiana. So, and look, shout out to Blake Miguez, our state senator. He was the conservative leader of the House last year, and he put that all together. And we have people that are tired of the good old boy system, and everyday Republicans saying, hey, we got things under control and everything's a mess. Now let's put the conservative way in. So we have a bright future here in Louisiana.
Good. Congratulations. But I got to tell you something, like everyone thinks New Jersey is bad crap crazy. And a lot of it is, man. A lot of the parts are. But if you look at the parts of that map during election day where you see these streaks of red in the county, that's where I live. And I'm going to be honest, even no matter where I travel, I don't know if I've ran into or talked to anybody that likes Biden. I do a lot of I do high-end masonry. I talk to a lot of people. Every one of my customers, none of them, they all stand against this lunacy. I haven't ran into many like true liberals that are just around that are willing, maybe not willing to admit it. So I think it's encouraging. I think we should be encouraged out there. We're gonna be all right. Put it that way. I'm planning on a blue wave, not a blue wave, a red wave happening next year. We had a red trickle last year, but let's have a red wave this year or in 2024. Definitely did. We definitely had a red trickle.
Red trickle, more like instead of a red flood, a red puddle.
Once again, they made so many mistakes. They put up a lot of bad candidates. It's very interesting. So the Republicans, just so you know, the Republicans have to put up quality candidates to get Republicans to vote for them. Democrats can run people like John Fetterman, who is brain dead. Like, he was literally brain dead at the time. And then they also voted in a man in Pennsylvania that literally died 2 months before the vote. Okay, they voted in a legit dead guy and a brain dead guy, and it's you just have to remember that Republicans have to put forth very good candidates. Democrats don't. If you have the D there, you're gonna get a certain percentage of votes. So we have to do a good job of they have to do a good job of putting up candidates. It's the only way you're gonna have a red wave, and hopefully it comes.
Yes, sir.
They are better off. We are better off if they're in charge. I agree with that.
How does Dan Bongino said that? He said the Republicans aren't the cause, I'm trying to make sure I say it right. He said Republicans aren't they don't solve all your problems, but the Democrats cause all your problems, and
they're not going to create any. Yeah.
But Mike, before we roll out, tell everybody where they can find your podcast, and if you have a website or anything like that.
You know what? It's our show has just we are very controversial. So we talk, like I said, we take on every show, but we're on everywhere. We're on Spotify, obviously, Apple, Google. We started this a long time ago. So it's really, find me there. We don't have any website put up for it, because I don't do it to make money. Okay, I do it so I could say what I want to say, how I want to say it, and Jay does the exact same way. We own our own businesses already. I said I'm a mason contractor. Jay's a landscaper. And will we monetize it or do that someday? Yeah, sure. But it's called Caldarise Unleashed. If you type in basically CALDA, I'll pop up basically on almost any podcast platform. They said mostly Apple and Spotify and all those. Yeah.
Mike, thank you for coming on, man. And
thank you for having me, man. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Next time we're gonna get you on a full episode. How about that? Where we got 3 segments to talk.
Let me do. You say when when I record, man. Mondays, Wednesdays, and on the weekends. So whenever you want, I'll come on. I'll give you as much time as you want. I love doing this. Love talking. We could definitely go for a while. This was quick.
Yeah, this was 30 minutes. So long segment, but it's good. Mike, thank you for coming on, man.
Man, Cajun Conservative, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me. Have a great day.
Have a good one. That was Mr. Mike Caldarise. I hope I said it right. He has Caldarise Unleashed. Go ahead and check that out on Amazon, Spotify, Apple, and all them good places. Probably every place that you find the Cajun Conservative Show. With that being said, though, thank you for listening to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show. Remember that Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. If you know Jesus, your Lord and Savior, reach out to me. I'll tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. Until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one.
Jesus Christ has risen, and he is the open door.